Welcome to the State of the Market with knowledgeable realtor Scott Zaino. Sit back and relax as Scott lifts the curtain on Cape Cod's real estate stats. Buckle up and let's dive in. This is your monthly State of the Market report.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another State of the Market for ending July of 2026. Well, the first 6 months of the year have gone by. Now we're into the second half, right? And what do coaches do on the second half? They go in and they give the team a talk, right? So today we're going to be talking to you, giving you a little pep talk on what's going to be happening maybe with the next 6 months of the year. We're going to go through our sectors and talk about those. As everybody knows, that the Fed just turned down the interest rates, so we're going to talk about that a little bit as far as changing the price of the rates because inflation was just a little too high, right? 4%. They like to keep it around closer to 2.5%. So let's dive right into our different sectors here and get going here. All right, little screen share. All righty. So the first sector that we're going to talk about is the number of listings or active listings. And we're sitting at about 1,090 for the end of July. All right, 1,090. That includes condos, residential, and raw land. Last month it was 1,117. And so there was just a slight drop of about 27 units. Nothing much to really talk about there. However, if you look over here back during COVID, right before COVID, right, May of 2020, we had 2,159 units. How does that compare today? It's just about half, right? It's just about half. So we're got just about half the amount of units that we had back in 2020 than we are today. All right, let's talk about the average sales price. Okay, so the average sales price ending in July bumped up about 30,000 from the previous month. So we're, hovering over the $1 million mark, 1,015,620. Last month we were at 985, 764, which was about a $30,000 increase. Okay. The next sector that we want to talk about is your sales to list price ratio. So what this tells us as agents is how strong our offers are coming in for the sellers, right? When you make an offer on a property, you don't just pull a number out of the sky, right? You look at the history, you see what's been going on, and you see what it takes to make an offer and actually get your offer accepted. So the sales ratio for the end of July was 98.7. All right. So if you had your house on the market for $1 million, you would expect to get 98.7, 990,000 on your $1 million listing price. I've seen them go over and I've seen them go under. It all depends on the property and your three P's. We talked about those before, and I'll hit them one more time. Your three P's are getting your price correct more now than ever, having the presentation of your property. So you want to make sure your property looks its best on the outside as well as in the inside. And then the third P is your promotion, how good of a job your agent is doing promoting your property to the world. You line up your three P's, you'll get an offer. If one of those P's is out of whack, sometimes I've seen one or two or all three of them, you're not going to get an offer on your property. Okay. So pay attention to your price, your promotion, and how your property looks on presentation. All right. So in June, it was 98.3. So we got a little bump there, about a 0.5%. So that tells us that the offers are coming in just a smidge, a little bit more stronger than they were in June as opposed to July. And July was a little stronger than June. All right. And I see those to continue to go up as far as offers going. And I see that number going up on the list to sales price ratio as we head in towards the second half of the year, and perhaps maybe an interest rate adjustment later, maybe around Thanksgiving or so. It's just kind of what I'm thinking. Let's see what the days on market is. So days on market tells us how long properties are staying on the market before they receive an offer. So the average days on market for the end of July was 35, and in June it was 39. So let's call that a push, right? If you go back into the days not too long ago, you can see that some of these days on market were super low 20s, right? Um, so today we were at 35 days on market. Let's talk about the months of inventory. So months of inventory tells us as agents and buyers and sellers what type of market we're in, right? Real estate always is evolving. Real estate does not stop. And so this tells us whether we're in a seller's market or a buyer's market. For the end of July, our months of inventory is 2.7. And in June, it was 2.5. And so that's still a seller's market based on inventory, not my opinion, right? Anything of 4 months of inventory or less, that's considered that's right, seller's market. 5 or 6 months is a neutral market, and anything over 6 months of inventory is a buyer's market. All right. So I'm going to just go ahead and stop my screen share real quick. All right, there we go. So let's talk about interest rates, right? Everything revolves around interest rates. So, like I mentioned earlier, the Fed had decided to hold and not lower the rates. And in fact, they went up a little bit, right? And I predict they probably go up again a little bit more. 4% inflation is just too high. And so the only way you can really correct that is by increasing the rates versus reducing them. Okay, you reduce them, more people buy properties, offers are higher, and there's more competition. So it kind of goes against that that thought of reducing the rates. So right now for today, your 30-year fixed, you're at 6.8. Last month it was 6.5. So there's that little bump. 15-year fixed today is 6.1. Last month it was 5.88. 30-year FHA, Federal Housing Administration, 6.3 today at the end of July. And June, it was 6.29, small little adjustment there. 30-year Veterans Association Administration, excuse me, 6.4. Last month, it was 6.35. And then jumbo, you need to finance around 766,000. In jumbo, you were at 5.7 at the end of July. And last month in June, it was 6.5. So that one did take a little bit of a bump down. However, there's a lot less people financing with the jumbos as opposed to the regular loans that are under 766,000. Incidentally, if you do want to check rates, you can go to bankrate.com/mortgage. That's where I get all my bank rate information for interest rates. And if you want to do a jumbo, if you want to look at a jumbo rate, because those are kind of different, you could go to mortgagerates.com 30-mortgage year-jumbo-rates. If you want to look up a jumbo rate. So if you guys like what we do, give us a like, give us a share, check us out on Facebook, check us out on YouTube. We've got all kinds of great information there, educational information as well. And so until next month, thank you so much again for participating and watching the latest State of the Market ending July 2026. We'll catch you next month. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.